Good day, sir. Before we tackle about Philippine folk dance, first we must know what dance is. So dance is a rhythmic movement of the body and feet ordinarily to music. It is a form of performing art consisting of purposely selected sequences of human movement, and this movement has aesthetic and symbolic value which is acknowledged by the performers and observers within a particular culture.
Folk dance. A dance developed by people that reflects the lives of the people of a certain country or region. It is an expression of a past or present culture. So, folk dances are dances that represent the culture and tradition of a certain region. It is usually performed to the public and it emphasizes the cultural roots of dance. Though folk dances are ethnic dances, not all ethnic dances are considered as folk dances. An example of this is the ritual or the religious dances. Religious dances are not considered as ethnic dances or as folk dances rather, because it is not used to showcase tradition, but instead it is used to enhance the religious ceremonies and beliefs of a certain region. Back then, the term folk was used by those people who don't consider themselves to be one of the folks and neither does. So the term folk was coined back in 1846 and carries an explicit meaning. The term was used to the communities who people think as heathen, who are unself-conscious, that carried what they called unsophisticated and ancient tradition. So for short, the term folk carries an offensive meaning. That's why some cultural youth does not prefer or does not want to address their dancers as folk dances because for them it is disrespectful. But some do use the term folk dance for the dances and associate its meaning with traditional, authentic, or from golden times. Philippine folk dance encompasses all the dance forms that have been used by the Filipinos through the centuries to express themselves. The Philippine folk dance basically means the dance that shows the traditions and culture of the Filipino people, though it may vary from different religions and cultural groups. The Philippine folk dance is just folk dance that is originated and that is originated from the Philippines and is used to express the different cultures and traditions of the Filipino people.
Spanish influence. Nearly 400 years of Spanish rule have left an unremarkable mark on the Philippines. Spain brought with them all aspects of their cultures, including the Catholic faith, clothing, and dance. In fact, the Barong Tagalog and the Terno are Philippine interpretation of Spanish dress that are made to fit the humid climate of the Philippines. Aside from creating their own version of European dress, Philippine aristocrats also created Filipino adaptation of the European dances. This includes jotas, fandangos, mazurkas, and waltzes that were danced by young socialites to the string music of Rendalia.
Value and importance of folk dance. Folk arts, specifically folk music and dance, embody fundamental values of great worth to our culture, our nation, and our future children. There is no better way to share time together as families and friends. Our job is to preserve the joyful tunes we've inherited from our ancestors and to pass them on to others. Values of folk dance. First, it strengthens our patriotism and nationalism. Because when you study folk dance, you're also studying a part of our tradition, the culture of the Philippines, and it shows your support for the country. Second, it helps keep connected to the ancestry and traditions. Because studying or knowing folk dance will keep us back connected to our history and our own traditions. Third, preservation of heritage through folk dancing. It is our job to help preserve the heritage through folk dancing. We should pass our knowledge to the next generation.
Now, let's go on to the importance of folk dance. Why is folk dance important? Folk dances are important because they help keep a culture alive. As we all know, culture is the way of life of a particular group of people. It comprises their language, religion, beliefs, values, behaviors, knowledge, attitudes, motives, and even traditions. It is what defines the certain group or a certain place or a particular nation. People have been doing folk dances for hundreds of years and there is a value keeping that tradition alive. Second, folk dances are important because they preserve the Philippine culture and pass it on to the next generation. As it was discussed, folk dances are dances that reflect the life of the people of a certain country or region. It is important to pass it to the next generation because the tradition of folk dance reflects our ancestors' ways and their history, and participation or observation of this tradition helps us create a sense of identity and belonging. And last, folk dance can be beneficial to health because folk dance can give you a great mind and body workout. It improves our condition of the heart and lungs, improves our flexibility, balance, agility, and it develops and improves our posture through graceful and rhythmic coordination of body movements.
Palo-palo is a war dance that shows how the community joined forces as one to defend themselves. It is a dance showing how the Ivatans defended themselves against the Christian intruders and how they learned to accept Christianity and live a virtuous life. The dance was a simple one performed by men who wore simple colored garments. The tappings of wooden sticks as background music to the dance produced an echoing sound as the Ivatans reenacted their battles with the Christian invaders. Palo-palo means sticks or arnes that were used by the native Ivetans to fight the forces of colonizers such as the Spaniards and the Dutch. The native wear traditional suits made from indigenous material from the barks of the trees which were flattened. This is highlighted by the cultural presentation of the times and life of the Ivetans.
Palo-palo is a cultural performance of the Ivatan community in the Batanes, Philippines. It is a stylized dance reenacting a sword fight or a war between the Muslims and the Christians. No one really knows its origin or has properly documented its evolution. However, now there are research studies conducted to dig the history of this dance. One of them is entitled The Palo-palo in Batanes, Philippines, From Colonial Legacy to Performance of Solidarity. Based on the theater historians in Batanes, Palo-palo originated from Comedia. And this Comedia is a Philippine traditional theater form which has roots in socio-historical conflict between the Muslims and the Christians. According to the people from Batanes, specifically the old ones, they said, it came from Spaniards. It was from a drama introduced by the Spaniards during colonization. Actually, the first performance of Palo-palo in Batanes was by a troupe from Ilocos Norte in Northwest Luzon, invited as the main act for the stage show of the fiesta. Palo-palo dance is commonly performed during the fiestas in Batanes. Now it is obvious that the kind and nature of this dance is a sword fight or a war. It's either Christian-Muslim conflict or insider-outsider conflict. To add some information based on research, Palo-palo may be a colonial legacy, but the Ivatans or the people from Batanes consider it important to their cultural identity. The Palo-palo is a post-colonial cultural product still derived from an indigenous original form, melded with some foreign influences, but localized enough to be considered a marker of Ivatan identity.
So now, let's proceed to the purpose and representation of the Palo-Palo folk dance. The dance is composed of two groups representing the indigenous Ivatans resisting and triumphing over foreigner invaders. However, the truth signifies the undying hospitality of the Ivatan people to the Epula. The Palo-Palo folk dance was purposely a commemoration or a tribute to a war happened between the people of Ebatan, or the Ebatan people, and Spaniards. Moreover, the said dance is a representation of people like Ebatan showing kindness and hospitality to other people. The truce for peace between Spaniards and Ivatan is served in the final part.
The costumes in this dance are plain colored long sleeve shirts and there is a handkerchief hanging over the man's collar. And what the dancer is wearing below is also a plain colored pants. So we move on to equipments. The equipment that were used in this kind of dance is the rattan sticks.
Basic steps. So for the music, the performers in Palo Palo usually dance to march-like type of beats because Palo Palo usually consists of marching steps and it is accompanied with the sound of tapping sticks in the background due to the dancers hitting each other with their arnis. For the counting, generally the time signature of the dance is 4-4. 4-4 is a common counting or time signature among most dances. So the movements or steps are relatively the same throughout the 15-minute performance. So the dance is repetitive, except when the performers will switch places or do their different formations.
The formation of Palu-Palu dance is that the members of two groups come from opposite sides, each carrying two army sticks, as if preparing for a battle. The performance is composed of repetitive dance variations, backward and forward movements, and march-like dancing while performers hit the opponent's sticks. In the end, performers face each other and seem to be shaking hands. All performers then leap forward while their hands still held together. They move to the final position, all lined up in a row facing the audience for the bow. This final act represents truce or katapusan ng giyera according to Virginia Leal 2016. She sees the message of the dance as about peace. She also adds that the war erupted but in the end, no one got hurt and no one got wounded. This is the important message of the dance performance. Next is we will show you a sample video of Palu Palu dance from YouTube and the demonstration of basic steps done by our group.
Moving on to our next Philippine folk dance, we have Cariñosa, which is very popular for its classic Maria Clara motif and its sophisticated, romantic suggestiveness, which some may call it flirting between a man and a woman. Well, that makes sense because Cariñosa is a Spanish word which directly translates to the affectionate one. To further our understanding of this particular colonial Philippine folk dance, we have Miss Gallega to explain its origin, Mr. Di Mayo for the purpose and representation, Miss De La Cruz for the costumes and equipments, and finally Mr. Rosca and Miss Galanido to give us a demonstration.
It is believed that Panay Island, located in the Visayan Islands group, was the first home of Cariñosa. The Spanish first arrived in the island in 1959. The dance soon spread around Philippines, giving rise to the different versions in different regions, such as in Bicol, where both dancers carry handkerchief. In addition, the word cariñosa is a Spanish word which literally means she that is loving. As such, it is a slow dance where a man and a woman dance together. It styles resemblance to a bolero or waltz. This dance is commonly performed at formal affairs like inaugural balls where prominent members of government participate and enjoy.
The dance itself is intended as a courtship dance and is of a flirtatious nature. Cariñosa literally means she that is loving. As the verb ending indicates, it refers to a woman, and the shy behavior of a female dancer is said to represent the mannerism of a Filipino woman, and the fan or handkerchief plays an instrumental role as it places the couple in a romance scenario.
Originally, Cariñosa was danced with a Maria Clara gown and Barong Tagalog, for it is a Maria Clara Spanish dance when it was introduced. But Filipino wore the patajong and kimono, which is a dress of the Visayan people, and camisa de chino, or a white sleeve paired with colored pants, to reveal nationalism. Cariñosa usually consists of a male and female who face each other when dancing. So the equipments fan for the girls and handkerchief for the boys play an instrumental role as the dance places the pair in romance scenario. With the use of the fan and handkerchief, the dancers go through hide-and-seek movements and other flirting acts, expressing tender feelings for one another.
Next is we're gonna talk about the formation, time signature, and the basic steps of Cariñosa. For the formation, partners should face each other about 6 feet apart. The girl is on the right side of the boy when facing the audience. The time signature used is 3/4 notes per measure. The basic footwork is similar to the steps used in a waltz. You move around the floor by stepping to the side with your left foot, then moving your right foot next to your left. You finish off this series of 3 movements by tapping your left foot on the floor. Repeat this sequence of steps, this time beginning by stepping to the side with your right foot. Spins are another fundamental element of Cariñosa. They take up to last 2 bars of an 8-bar sequence. If you are the male half of the dancing pair, you either fold your hands behind your back or put your hands on your hips. The best way to think of this modified hands on hips pose is to make sure your thumbs point inward toward your waist and your knuckles rest on your love handles, even if you don't have them. If you're the female, hold your skirt up a few inches off the floor by taking each side of your skirt between your thumb and your forefinger. You can either do 2 turns, one for each 3-beat bar, or 1 turn on the first 3-beat bar. For the latter, you simply stand still for the last 3-beat bar. Just always turn to the right.
So to wrap up our discussion, we made a Venn diagram to present the summary of Cariñosa and Palo-Palo and also to present their similarities. In Cariñosa, it originated in Panay Island, while in Palo-Palo, it has a unknown origin. And Cariñosa is a romantic dance, while Palo-Palo is a war dance. Cariñosa uses fans as their props, while Palo-Palo uses Arnis de Mayo as their props. For the costumes, Cariñosa uses Balintawak and Maria Clara for girls, while Barong Tagalog and colored pants for boys. On the other hand, Palo-Palo uses only plain long sleeves and pants. Now for their similarities. Both of these dances were introduced by Spaniards. And both of these dances requires a partner. That's all. Thank you.